Good day, good evening, whatever time it is for you. Whoops. That's the wrong thing, that's also the wrong one. This is the right one. I was on the wrong screen, now I'm on the right screen. Anyway, did that give anything? Nah, that was just my study stuff. Okay, we're good. Anyway, hello. Late Thursday stream. Indeed, we might have more of those in the future because I am turning all of you guys into my body doubles, my study buddies. Because I have no one else to sit down with me on a frequent basis and force me to study. So, yeah. But I hope everybody's doing well today. It is currently 9:23 p.m. over here. It is 9:23 p.m., but I usually study in the evenings to night time slots. Salantone and Joe, welcome in, welcome in. Hope you're both doing well today. Yeah, today's gonna be a chill stream. Shorter stream as well. Or maybe shorter stream, probably shorter stream. Or maybe not. I don't know. I'm still figuring out how exactly to structure and, you know, manage these kinds of streams, these studying streams, because, you know, they're different than the regular. Looking forward to relax? Yeah. For me, no relaxation or little relaxation because I am locking in. But I figured, you know, the Monday stream actually did help me quite a lot to get some stuff done and also, you know, memorize some stuff. So I figured we are doing it again. I do have both an Islamic studies and French test in 4 days, but I'm already caught up. Hey, in that case, you know, if you have anything to do, you may as well use the designated study times to get your own stuff done, or you can just sit back, lurk, have this running in the background. I don't know. And during the breaks, we can chat. Those of you who are doing work can let me know what you're up to, what you've been up to. I will probably be, for the times that I use memorizing stuff and reviewing stuff, I will probably use at least some of those breaks, which will also be a little longer, to try and recite however much I can. Because I'm also the type that, like, I need to, you know, just like looking at it and trying to memorize it and even writing it down oftentimes isn't enough. I need to actually talk about it to, you know, fully get it into my head. And last time it worked decently well. So, yeah. Doing some work on some fan stuff? Hell yeah! Yeah, the way this is gonna work today is we're doing it a little differently. Because on Monday, I kind of realized that depending on what exactly I do, like what kind of work I do, it does... My attention span varies depending on what kind of task I'm currently on. When I'm like actually working on like like my essay or my assignment, you know, like written stuff, where I don't necessarily have to use as much brain power actively, as if I were, as, you know, when I'm reviewing stuff, then I can manage to go for longer. But when it's like just trying to memorize information, my brain cannot go for that long. So we're gonna split today into several parts. We're gonna start with a 20-minute study session because 20 minutes is roughly about how long my brain can last memorizing stuff. And then we're gonna have a 15. I'm probably gonna make it a 15-minute break, maybe 20 minutes. We'll see. Probably around 15 minutes. We're a little lax with the breaks. We'll see how much time the stuff takes up, in which, you know, we can relax. We can yap. I'm going probably to talk to you about, you know, what I reviewed, what I was able to remember, to try and solidify that a little more. And after that, I might either go back to more studying, or we might go to like a 30-ish minute section where I actually, you know, swap and switch over to my assignments and whatnot. Because I feel like switching back and forth would also help me keep up more, you know? which, you know, like that's what's usually recommended is when you're studying, is to switch subjects or switch tasks every now and then, because that essentially helps you. Because like if you're just like stuck on one subject and you're trying to like really ram that into your head, chances are you will be less successful than if you were to swap back and forth between 2, maybe 3 subjects or specific tasks. Because that you know, that switch helps keep your brain like more, you know, up and going. So we might do that, but we're gonna start with a short 20-minute session. I don't know how long I'm gonna go today. Might be 2 of those sprints, might be 3. We'll see. I am probably gonna call it around like midnight at most. So 2.5 hours, and much longer is we're probably not gonna go above 2.5-ish hours from now. Let me get some water in. But yeah, I also think I figured out the timer thing. Or well, I say figured out. I didn't really look much into it, but I have an idea of just how I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna move the timer back and forth, I guess. Because right now I only know how to have one timer active on the screen. I don't know how to like do both. Not sure how to do how that works. Actually, what if? Nope. That's no. We're just gonna see. We're gonna see. But with that said, I say I also have my little typing gadget back. My fun little typing thing. My quiet typing thing. Close. I'm a psychology major. Although psychology does occasionally delve into philosophy as well in certain areas, and they're both interesting subjects, honestly. Philosophy is also very interesting. I do also like myself some psychology. It was one of my favorite classes in high school, which it was, well, it technically wasn't philosophy directly. It was like ethics is what we call it, which is kind of like the class that you go to if you're not taking any sort of religious class, because you either have to take Catholic, or at least in our case, it was either a Catholic religion, evangelical religion, or ethics. And because I am not religious and I don't care for it, and I think it's very boring, I just switched to ethics. It kind of sucks that you can't do both. It also sucks that religion is a mandatory class. Like ethics or religion is mandatory, which is so weird. It's so weird. But whatever. But yeah, I am a psychology major. Now, I say we may get started on our first study chunk. I am going to mute in the meantime. If you see my mouth moving, that's because I tend to like vocalize I tend to talk when studying, vocalize the information I'm trying to process. So don't worry about that. And yeah, I will not be responding to chat unless there's something that needs my urgent attention, and if not, then I will get back to you probably, you know, after or during the break time. So, let us begin our first period of working / studying, or just relaxing if you have nothing to do. I believe it should start right when I do. Yes. Okay. Okay. It is break time for, let's say, 15-ish minutes. I think that should work. And Fuyad, welcome in. Welcome in with me studying as well. Hell yeah. And Pumpkin, welcome in. Glad you're doing well. Glad you're doing well. Ah, God. To those of you who are doing work, who are studying, feel free to pipe in, to chime in with whatever you're doing, what you're up to. I currently, same thing as I was studying last time. The general subject is social psychology, or psychology of social interaction, to be more, I guess, precise, more literal with the name. Very interesting stuff right now. The topic, or I guess the lesson that I'm at right now, is talking about the way that social context, or not that as well, but the way that just people and society as a whole can influence the way that we behave, both consciously and subconsciously. For example, the way that I'm trying to sort this out right now. The thing with me and like memorizing stuff is I feel like recounting everything off the top of my head is like it's like sometimes when I study, I feel like I know what I just read, I know what I just studied, and I could recall it if need be, but like number one, like trying to formulate it into words other than just like, you know, in an exam, I have like question, answer, boom, and it's like I know the answer, but actually like phrasing it in a coherent sentence is another matter. Oh yeah, I was not kidding. I was not kidding. Yeah. Because I usually study late in the evenings / at night. So this fits. And also Lenny, welcome in. But anyway, social influence. Difference between normative social influence, so just the tendency to conform to certain social norms, certain opinions based on you know, how you think it will reflect on you, or, you know, like the positive or negative consequence that you believe you can either achieve or avoid as a result. Then there's informational social influence. At least I believe. I'm also like actively translating all of this, which makes it a little more difficult, but also more interesting because it also makes me like think about it more, you know? I feel like that also helps me. Whether that ends up helping me in the exam is another matter, because then I'll have to go back to being German when I have the English translations in my mind, but I'm sure that'll work out. At least I retain the general gist of it. I'm trying to think, what was informational social influence? If that's even the way, like, and on that note, I don't even know if all of these terms are like transferred into English properly. What was informational social? Informational was, oh yeah, the tendency to, you know, when you, people who are more likely, or I guess this applies to most people, when you're more likely to believe information that you hear from someone close to you, from someone you know, than you would from a stranger, just because whether or not that person is correct, you assume that they already, you know, they have good intentions and that they may know what they're talking about. You trust them more than you would just a random person. Unless that person themselves, of course, tells you that they got no fucking clue. Outer glass model plus hoodie is awesome. Yeah, it's very cozy. I like it. It was a bit of a bitch to set up, but especially because my arms extend beyond the blanket. But it works. It works. Translating essays from English to my native tongue was certainly a time in my life. Yeah. It is fun. I actually do like translating and stuff. I would actually love to, like, you know, if there was like a I actually tried applying for like a translation like job, like just like a mini job. But like the application stuff was like so strict that I at some point I was like, or I failed a couple times and then I was like, nah, I'm not gonna. And the only other way to do it is like freelancing, and freelancing is scary, so I'm not doing that. But I do like translating stuff. It is fun. It is fun. Let me think, what else was there? What else was there? Talked about that one experiment, which I actually heard before. Now I know which name to associate with it. I think the name was Solomon Ash, whichever it was. And that experiment I actually knew of, at least sort of, where you essentially present people with a series of lines, like you have line A, line B, line C, and then you show them a fourth line, and you tell people to pick the one, A, B, or C, that perfectly overlaps with the fourth line they're being shown. And so you basically had the majority of people was supposed to, you know, answer truthfully with what they believe is the correct answer. And a portion of the people was supposed to just occasionally throw in a wrong answer. An answer that was clearly wrong. And he then observed that over time, there were always people who ended up being swayed by these wrong opinions. Especially if, and this was then later tested in other experiments, if you have a group of people, even if they're a minority, that consistently, that maintains a consistent position, whether that position is correct or incorrect, you will eventually end up swaying some people within the majority, and getting them over to your side. Just because of how these people are, like, not, you know, always giving the same answer, no matter what. Even if that answer is wrong, at some point, you will think to yourself, well, I mean, if they're so insistent, you know, if they're like, maybe they do have a point after all. It is interesting. There's like several experiments like that, where you can kind of observe how even a small majority, no, that doesn't fit, a minority can like influence the general consensus, I suppose, by being like consistent enough with their approach. Did anyone else the new coat? Yeah, it's a blankie. It's comfy. It's very comfy. Honestly, I think this might be one of my favorite courses so far, just because of like, I think like the way that I'm handling like studying for it is also plays a part, because I'm actually talking about it and like thinking about it. But also just because of the way, like, how often you see this stuff happen in real life, and you kind of just, like, don't really think about it. Like, this whole thing of, you know, swaying the majority or conforming to social norms is something that, like, you see basically everywhere. You experience yourself, you do yourself every now and then. And you're like, yeah, sure. But, like, actually trying to, like, understand the process and the reasoning behind it is very fascinating. And the way that it can sometimes work both ways, I suppose. Ah, yeah. But yeah. I need to make my playlist longer. I've added like 2 or 3 songs to my study playlist, but I need to make it longer, because otherwise we're just gonna have like at least 1 or 2 repeats per stream. I want to make it like at least maybe like 2-ish hours long or so. I feel like I'm not really feeling the, like, I know I said at the start of stream that it was probably gonna be, it would be smart to swap back and forth between you know, assignment and studying, but I'm kind of not feeling the assignment stuff, so maybe I'll just stick to studying afterwards, or I'll try to, like, I do have a presentation that I still need to finish up the script for, so maybe I'll do that. See how far that takes me in the half hour, and in that half hour I'll then maybe like try to get some more studying done. I'll combine the two, because I'm kind of not feeling the assignment stuff, and I feel like if I force myself to do it, then nah, I won't really get much done. So I do have like 5 more minutes to think about it. Oh god. But I also think that if when we do the 30-minute chunks, I'll probably shorten the breaks to 10 minutes because I'm taking 50 minutes breaks right now after the memorizing stuff, just because I'm also using this to ramble about what I actually study to try and memorize it better. So that takes up a chunk of it. The Kinnikuman instrumental OSTs for both the 1983 and 224 animes are available. Copyright? Copyright question mark? Strikes question mark? Claims question? I mean, I'm not expecting these streams to make money. These are just like chill streams for mainly myself. Like these study streams are mainly for myself. And I'm just using you guys as like my stand-in for a body double. But you know, preferably I would not have to deal with copyright claims if they, you know, and anime is always a little wacky there. Bum bum bum. Oh. Bum-ba-da. Ah. Hold on, there we go. God, I also need to... I'll do it tomorrow. I shall do tomorrow. You can just say willing test subjects. I mean, hey, whether you're willing or not, I will yap at you. And if you're here, then I guess you signed up for this. But hey, in the meantime, you may also, you know, retain some fun little psychology fun facts. So there's that. Sky, welcome in. What are you studying? Psychology. Social psychology, specifically in this case. I am studying and then I'm yapping to you guys about it to try and help me remember it all better. I should have done this like so long ago. I should have done this a while ago because it does help. And I mean, hey, like the first like Monday stream actually didn't do much worse than my usual streams. So, you know? And this way I can combine, you know, the joy of going live with actually being productive. And I also like having like more chill streams, you know? Like my normal streams are tend to be like higher energy than this. I'm also trying like not to strain my voice as much, you know. I'm not talking as I'm a little closer to the mic. I'm not talking as loudly as I usually would. I could, but I'm not gonna. But also, Sky, I hope you're doing well today. So this is also nice to just relax with some chill music that I need to expand on at some point. I got some Persona stuff. I got some however stuff. A few Deltarune and Undertale songs. I know there's like tons of like royalty-free like lo-fi and whatnot stuff, but I like to have some stuff that I actually know and recognize. What I do know about psychology is that Skinner's box is much more relevant now than ever. Oh yeah, behaviorism and Skinner's box, you know, operant conditioning is always very relevant. Because it's just like the basic principle of, you know, reward and punishment in accordance with how you act. Because, you know, Skinner's box was originally, or not, I say originally, Skinner's box is, you know, you lock an animal in a cage and you basically have it go through, or well, that's also it. Fun fact, actually, if I recall from what I am working on my assignment right now, the Skinner box is actually not, like, Skinner actually wasn't the guy that called it that. It was, I believe, or is speculated to be, was it Watson? No, it wasn't Watson. What am I talking about? Or it might have been actually, but someone else essentially, who either knew of Skinner or knew Skinner, just called it the Skinner box because it, you know, it was a big part of his research. But you know, the Skinner box, the puzzle box, like the Simpsons guy. I don't know. I've never watched Simpsons. Just relaxing, watching some streams and listening to the El Dorado soundtrack. Since I got that stupid idea of Aha and Akivili being Miguel and Tulio, one of the songs is literally The Trail We Blaze. That's a fitting name. That's a very fitting name. But yeah, Skinner is also a guy that I wrote about in my assignment because it's all about behaviorism, and he is one of the big pillars of behaviorist theory. Anyway, enough yapping. It is time to move on to our next study chunk. This one, I'm actually going to change the timer right now for that. I will make 30 minutes. Oh, and I should reset. Right. Reset timer. There we go. That should do it. I was listening to IMMA playing 4.2 while studying. Hey, that's totally fair. We're gonna continue that tomorrow. Yes, Sky, I am planning to do these streams more often. I am planning to do at least one every Monday from now on, and then sprinkle them in throughout the week. Probably gonna be like, maybe like Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday are supposed to be my regular streams where I, you know, do the fun stuff, and then study stuff is like any other day. Monday is I'm trying to make the regular thing, and then the others are probably gonna be like random off schedule evening streams where literally I'm not gonna do much preparing. I'm just gonna go live and be like, hey, here I am for an hour, 2 hours or something. Just on time of me finishing my dailies? Hell yeah. AP Calculus is gonna destroy me if I don't. That is so fair. That is so valid. I have some statistics courses in my major, and it sucks. Are you gonna do the blue quest that follows up the story quest on stream I recommended? Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Probably I will, yes. Maybe not on the same stream, but another stream. Oh yeah, these are also easier because like I don't have like a game to pull up. It's like it's less work because I'm also gonna be using the same thumbnail probably. Because you know there's like no real like succession to those, you know. There's no part 1, part 2, etc. that I have to edit different thumbnails for, even if they're ever so simple. It's just like changing the title, putting the same thumbnail in, opening the Spotify playlist, and you know, VTube Studio and OBS, and that's basically it. So it's less effort than the rest because I don't have to have a game open or anything of the sort. And they're also very chill, you know. I don't have like these streams are also like they save more energy because I'm not, you know, I don't have to like try and pay attention to like whatever game is happening on screen. I don't have to try and think of like stuff to talk about because I'm not talking that much in the first place. I'm just, you know, doing my thing for a good chunk of it, and then during the break I may talk about the stuff I'm doing. Or I may literally just sit back and relax, and if I happen to think of something to talk about, then I will. And if not, then we're just gonna vibe to the music. So it helps me, also helps me save energy, save my voice. Well, yeah, save my voice too. But anyway, with that, I'm gonna reset the timer because this was just a test. There we go. Timer will be resetting, and we're now going for 30 minutes. Again, I'll be muted unless anything urgent comes up. And go. All right, I am finishing up this point real quick, and then we will have break time. So give me like another couple seconds, because I'm almost done with this section. Okay. And it is break time. How many sessions will be in this stream? Probably, we might do one more. We might do one more. Maybe, I don't know. I'm probably gonna do at least one more. Because I do want to stop before midnight. And I think 3 sessions is going to work. That is going to work. Ideally, I'm going to either finish, or maybe to, I don't know. Maybe we'll do 2. I don't know, we'll see. This break will 3 unstoppable ads just as the session ended. Oh no! Yeah, this break will also only be 10 minutes long. Because I don't have anything to yap about. Because I was just writing the script for my presentation, which is actually about. So I have the exam coming up. By coming up, I mean I can decide whenever I want to take it. But I want to preferably, you know, have it by either the end of the month. That might be cutting it very close, or at least the start of this coming month. So within the next 2 weeks-ish. That one's about social psychology. Then I have an assignment that I'm like part way through. That's about behaviorism, and I'm now finishing up a presentation about eating disorders, about anorexia. Is that also what you call it in English? Anorexia nervosa. I think this method doesn't quite work for me. I still want to do my thing. I mean, hey, that's totally fair. I mean, you know, some people... I know that when, like... For me, it doesn't work when I'm watching a stream like this. I know for me that doesn't really work. Because I will still do, like, my own thing. This... is better for me because like I am the one initiating this stream. I'm the one initiating these sessions. So there's more accountability happening. But yeah, for me as well, like if I'm just watching someone do one of these study or work streams, that doesn't really work. So I kind of get that. And I mean, hey, who says you have to do anything while being here? You can just relax. You can just vibe. Heard of it? My neuroscience degree I'm doing? Yeah. Anorexia. So yeah, it's basically I don't actually know. There's a colloquial term for it in German. I actually forgot. I'm sure there is one in English as well. But it's basically the one that is characterized through like significant underweight, whether through, you know, starving yourself, taking other, you know, extreme measures like medication, excessive exercise and stuff, or there's the purge/binge eating variant, which is, you know, you eat a lot and then you take, quote, corrective measures, which could be vomiting, medication, and whatnot. And the main reason I took this one is just because it's the simplest to present about out of the topics that I was able to choose. This one's like was a clear direction of like, here's this disorder, make a presentation about it, you know? So there's little like room for interpretation. It's just definition, symptoms, treatment, and one like case example of it where, you know, you apply all that stuff. Mostly meant the time break, kind of just get into a flow state and only really stop when I get out of it. Then again, maybe breaking the state really helps me go on for long. Oh, that, yeah. I mean, yeah, of course. These times are mainly for me. Like, this is what works for me. But there's some people who, like, as you said, who like get into this flow state and then they're able to lock in for longer. Some people are able to go for like, you know, half an hour or so. Others, like me, whose attention span doesn't last as long, or whose brain power cannot be as efficient for that long. I need to do it in shorter bursts, depending on what I'm doing. Like this, for example, I probably could have maybe gone on for a couple more minutes, but I think it's good that I'm taking this break now. So, you know, I think even like, I think on the one hand, it is good to like, once you're in this flow state, just keep going until, you know, until you hit that mark, that break mark. But depending on how long you go, I do think, you know, at some point your productivity will start to dip. So it's important to like recognize when you reach that point, when like for me, it's like when I study, when I review the material, I'm like 20 minutes is good, because towards the like 17, 18 minute mark, I start to like, it starts to dip. And that's where I'm like, okay, I can read these bullet points off like 5 more times and they're not gonna stick. So it depends on the person. My neurodivergent brain is not made for long bursts of focus. But for others that works. And for me it also depends. Like sometimes, you know, sometimes I do get these moments where like I'm just really locked in. And I sit there for an hour doing things, but usually that doesn't apply to studying. Usually that applies to other things that are more enjoyable. So, depends on the person. Oh. I just realized the playlist has ended. And I also didn't look at the time. When did we start? Was it 30? 26? 30? I don't actually know. We're gonna go till 40, till 1:40 stream time, I guess. Anyway, we're restarting the playlist. Yeah, it really does depend on the activity. Like sometimes when I play fucking Minecraft, I look at the time and suddenly it's 2 hours later, you know? How long is the break? It was supposed to be 10 minutes. It was supposed to be 10 minutes, but I didn't pay attention to when the break started. So if anyone knows, that'd be lovely. It might also have been the 26-minute mark, in which case we have another like 2 to 3 minutes. Actually, that might be true, because I think I remember looking at the clock and it was like 42, like 10:42 when I responded to someone asking how long the session was gonna be. So that might be it. That might be it. So we have another 1 to 2 minutes and then we're gonna continue. Ideally, I would want to at least get this done today and finish that one lesson I'm reviewing, which would technically be 2 more sessions. So we might have 1 more. Would that match? If I do 2 shorter sessions, maybe. If I do 1, I'm trying. Okay, now I have to do the math in my head, because that'd be 1 40-minute session, which would put us there. What if I make it 25? That's 35. No, that doesn't match up. We'll do 2 more 20-minute bursts, I think. We have around 1, but yeah. So we're gonna get back to it soon. We'll do 2 more 20-minute bursts, I think. Yeah, it has been 10 minutes now. So we'll do another, I'm gonna change the timer. To 20 minutes. So we'll do 1 more... Stop, not yet. We'll do 1 more 20-minute session, with a 10-minute break. And then another 20-minute session with, you know, however long it takes me to recount what I think I remembered. And then we're gonna end it there. So we're gonna be at it for roughly another hour, give or take. So I can be done before midnight. And just like that, we'll have like 2.5 hours of studying done. Yeah. See you guys in 20 minutes. Alright, I am just about done. So I say, with these 14, 15, 12, 10 extra seconds, we can begin our second to last break. Technically, I guess last break, because whatever. But yeah. Oh, there we go. I also didn't remove the break time thing. I should remember to do that. But I guess, you know, when the timer's on, there's no more break. But now there is. I also need to get some more water. I am in wire hell, it's all tangled up. Oh no, what did you do? Or what are you trying to do, I guess? Oh god, yeah, I think this last chunk I'm gonna switch back to studying for the exam. I need a brain refresher. I'm Alfred, welcome in. Hope you're doing well today. Da-da. Let me catch up here. Let me think. So that was 30, 20. That was 1 minute and nope, 1 hour and 10 minutes. That or I guess it will have been 1.5 hours, which is honestly fine. Again, more than I usually do. Connect pipes in a simulation? Damn. Cool stream. Thank you. It is not our usual stream. Or it is not our norm. We're having and also not even the normal time. We're having a chill late night. What do you guys consider late night? Like, to me, like, technically, late night would be like to me, late night is like post midnight, like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. But I'm also like, I feel like sometimes people also use late night to say late evening. Around now, right? Technically, it's not. It can be considered night, but it's like it'd be like early night. Like this is late evening to me. But I feel like it depends on who you ask. Late night is 3 to 4 a.m., but I'm pretty young, so I'm not the president. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, late night to me would be like any time between 1 to 4 a.m. I feel like after 4 a.m. it's so late that it's early again. Yeah, evening is around like 6-ish p.m. Like up until 5, you know, 5 I would say is like late afternoon, and then sometimes there's like the transition phase that I don't call anything, depending on my mood, and then 6 p.m. onward I would consider evening. Yeah, right? Late night would be like after midnight at least. But like late evening feels weird to say. Didn't take the bait? Listen, if there was bait, I completely missed it. Oh. Okay, I get it now. Yeah, no. I didn't even catch the bait, let alone consume it. I once again didn't pay attention to the time. No, I did. No, I didn't. Yes, I did. No, I didn't. Has it been 5 minutes? It might have been 5 minutes. I don't fucking know. Yeah, it should have been. Yeah. 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 Okay. Break's been going on for about 4 minutes or so. Yeah, I did not even perceive. The bait has gone unobserved. Unacknowledged. La-da. La-da. Bam, bam. I'm trying to think, like, how much, like, assuming that I do these streams, like, at least 2 to 3 days a week. Let's say I do these streams, like, 2 days a week. I have the Monday stream, which is going to be, like, 3 hours-ish, which last time we did around 2 hours of studying. So let's say I do 2 hours. Then that's 3.5. If I can squeeze in one more stream, we could get up to like 5 hours. 5 hours a week. Honestly, that's more than I'm used to. And I feel like I can work my way up from there. Which would be lovely. Which would be lovely. Used to watch you a lot when I used to play HSR. Now that I don't play anymore, I didn't watch you for a while. No need to apologize, all good. Now that I've remembered you with this stream though, I'll watch your bits tomorrow. Hell yeah! And hey, don't worry, don't worry. No need to apologize. There's a lot of streamers that I watch for like specific content, and when they stream something else, I don't watch. Not all of them, there's some that, you know, I watch for them, or I've just been a part of the community for so long, that I at least pop in every now and then. But there's no need to apologize. I feel like, you know, absolutely nothing wrong with that. I do currently, at least like video-wise, by far almost the only thing I post is HSR stuff, and or like gacha stuff, I guess. Stream-wise, I do have some more variety. We do Ace Attorney, we do random streams. Now we have the study sessions, so it's all good. It's all fine. I'm gonna pour myself some more water before we continue. Well, we have a couple more minutes. Look. But I do also want to get back to like doing more variety. It's just, again, like time is just the issue. Like 1 week roughly, or at least 2 streams, I guess, will always be taken up, or I guess 3 streams every 6 weeks will always be taken up by HSR, livestream, and the new quest, which can take 2 to 3 streams usually. Got a Wi-Fi outage in my area. Good thing I finished studying. Oh, well, damn. Good thing you did indeed. The Greatest Attorney is what we've been doing on and off at the moment. I want to do more in-between streams with like tier lists and stuff, or collabs as well. It's just, I just don't have the time for all of that, sadly. It's past 1 AM and there's school tomorrow. Oh yeah, fucking yeah. Get some good rest. Get some good rest. Sleep well. But thank you for popping in, Sky. I appreciate it. I do wonder what's like the I do wonder what like the average amount is for someone to study like online, you know? Like, of course, when you attend university, you know, there's like lots of different classes and different amounts of time and, you know, several hours a day and whatnot. But like, I do wonder. I know whatever it is, I haven't been sticking to it. Like, I feel like I probably barely get like 2 to 3 hours per week. Well, maybe like 3 to 4 hours per weekend, just because like I cannot get off my ass. And that's how I've fallen so far behind. But I guess I'll just like keep an eye on how these streams go and like my mini sessions in between. Like when I study in my own time, I'm not gonna be nearly as productive, but you know, I'll at least get some stuff done, maybe like 20 minutes or so on those days. Better than nothing. But yeah, I guess I'll have to see how my progress is with that, because really I am very much behind and I need to like really lock in, because I also only have limited time left. But like the goal is until the end of the month at least. I have one assignment in the works. I have the presentation that I really only need to do, like I need to like do the transitions for it in the, you know, the actual presentation, which I can just do whenever technically. Like that doesn't take much work, it just takes a bit of time, but it's not like, you know, I can just do it while watching something. And writing the script for it. Then there's the exam that I'm studying for, which I hope to take by the end of the month. So ideally, I would have at least the presentation and the exam done by the end or within the next 2 weeks, and possibly even the assignment. That would be lovely. The stream has done more for my productivity for this entire week than anything I did on my own, so thanks. Hell yeah, listen, same. Fucking same here. And we have one more. We have one more burst. one more burst of locking in. I'm gonna take a minute. Not a minute, baby, but I'm gonna take a couple seconds to try and reset, to refresh. Whew. I feel like every now I feel like what helps me with like these like quick, I guess, getting back into the zone. I feel like to get into the zone, I just need to zone out for a couple seconds. Do you know what I mean? Like I just need to sit there, take a breath, maybe close my eyes, and just tune everything out for a bit, and then I'm like, okay, back in. I'm gonna take a final sip of water. Okay. And with that, let me pull up my thing actually before I do this. Hold on. There we go. I'll do it like this so I know where I left off here. And with that, final study chunk shall begin. Once I reset the timer, because I forgot to reset the timer. Hold on. Shall begin whenever I reset the timer. There we go. Right now. Milgram. Milgram, that authority is necessary. That at a certain point people can also stop like actually questioning the authority and just like certain, you know, at some point like thoughtless, I guess. When people stop thinking about it, they're not gonna question like what the authority is exactly demanding, just by the fact that the symbol of authority is demanding something they're willing to follow. They stop questioning, they stop, you know, doubting, they stop criticizing and stuff. Milgram did an experiment then in the 60s. Ooh, okay. Oh, okay, so that's right. That's based on the you know, NS, National Socialism time and whatnot. So you had the leader, the person, Versuchsleiter, participant, researcher, participant, and another person. Oh, I realized I was unmuted. Whatever. Psychology, to answer your question. Junior, but welcome in. I didn't realize I was unmuted. I will be back to unmute in 5 minutes. Okay. And with that, we have completed our final study session, our final study chunk. Let me finish this up real quick. Let me do this. Okay, there we go. There we go. Lots of psychology students? Hell yeah, we need more of those, honestly. Well, we need more of those that actually make an effort to understand the topic and, you know, do the job properly. But also, I don't even know how long I was muted, but I guess that gave you a little glimpse on like how I study. Is like I just like this, like I don't even form full sentences sometimes. I just like pick out pieces and I'm like the. So that's why I stay muted, because otherwise I would just be yapping nonstop during this. But yeah, I also just did the test for there's like little like online tests for like the single lessons for like each lesson that you absolve that you can do. It's like a very short thing of like answering 5 questions, and if you get 4 out of 5 correct, then you can move on to the next lesson. And I did get 4 correct, so hell yeah, hell freaking yeah. And with that, I finished 2 lessons in the span of 1 week. That's more than I usually manage. Not even 1 week, just like 4 days. That's a lot more than I usually manage. Now, will I recall all of this by the time the exam rolls around? Maybe not, but I tried. And right now, I'm doing decently. But this is nice, this is nice. Yeah, and the last section of what I was doing is, again, like the topic of social influence, but this time, intentional social influences. So, like, the way that, like, society or, you know, people around us deliberately influence our behavior through, for example, like, forms of authority, or the principle of, or the rule, I guess, of reciprocity. You know, if someone gives you something, you feel obligated to give something back. If someone's nice to you, you feel obligated to pay them back somehow. More progress today than the entire last week? Yeah, dude, it is so much better. And also, there was one thing that actually I think I'm gonna remember pretty well, because, and that, mind you, that wasn't the first time I've heard of that theory, but it's always what sticks into my mind, which was the principle or the rule of scarcity. You know, the idea that the rarer something is, or the less accessible something is, the more valuable we perceive it to be, which I actually distinctly remember from Maruki's Confidant in P5. I was like, hey, he brought that up in one of his hangouts with the I think the cookie jar or something along those lines. So I'm like, hey, I'm gonna remember that. Ba-da-da. But yeah, the good thing about like psychology, like, I mean, I guess not such psychology, you know, but the good thing is that like the further you get into, I guess, like any major, is that at some point topics and like single points are just gonna start repeating itself. So I feel like usually the beginning is the hardest because you're starting from 0 or with very little, but like throughout the course of like even this lesson, I was like, hey, I've heard of this before, and I know this, and this came up in another course and stuff. I heard this from that blurber in my games. Dude, I love that. Genuinely, I wish there were like more ways to combine my fictional brain rots and, you know, like actual productive stuff. And in a way, I'm doing this right now. In a way, I'm doing this with streaming because I enjoy streaming, and I enjoy talking about things. So in a way, I'm kind of doing this right now. And it is helping me so much more. It is helping so much more. And I just wish there were more ways to like combine that, you know? That like don't take even more effort on my part. Because like even if I, you know, I have like, I do like to write and I like to, you know, make my own, like make my OCs and stuff. But even if say I made a character that was studying to be a psychologist, for example, like really like literal, even then it'd be hard to like translate that, to transfer that, because like what am I gonna write that about with that character, you know? Am I gonna write that about that character rehearsing? That's like, it doesn't really work. But like with P5, I'm like, hey, rule of scarcity, I've heard that before. That's good, that's cool. Reminds me of the time for one of my old English writing assessment, I just wrote a passage from Dark Souls describing one of the areas. Yeah, that works. I remember one of my my French teacher in high school. She was really cool. We had an oral exam, and this teacher who, like, at that point, like, she was like our first homeroom teacher when we, you know, switched to that school after elementary. So like our entire class, or, you know, those of us who stuck around by then, always were like very fond of her. She was great. And I think she did for our oral exams, which were like, you know, like you get a little like sheet of like tasks or like a topic that you have to like talk about or like make like have a dialogue about with another student for 50 minutes or so, or like, you know, certain amounts of time per task or whatever. And she went out of her way, which worked in our case because I think our class by then, or our course by then, was already smaller, but she went out of her way to fit the topics that we were supposed to talk about to each student. My dialogue topic was manga and Japan. So she knew that and she just made that a topic. And I was like, that's so cool, actually. One of my English assessments was about writing a mythology, and I just started writing the genesis of the Pokemon world. Yeah, dude, I loved... Or I love when you actually get that freedom. I had that sometimes in my English class, where like the few times in my English class where actually we were allowed to just like, you know, we had like a short story and we were allowed to continue that story in whatever way possible. I loved when we could do that, because then I could just go off and you know, unsurprisingly, during those exams, I wrote more than I wrote in any other. Now, did that get me a better grade? Not necessarily, because teachers still suck and they're like, yeah, you can write this however you want, but if you don't include these plot points, then you get points deducted, which is fucking bullshit. Like, either let me do the thing or not, or tell me exactly what I need to include, and especially to what extent. Because sometimes it's like, yeah, if I write 2 sentences about this, that's okay, but other times, if you don't write half a page about this exact topic, about this exact plot point, then it's not enough. Like, motherfucker. But anyway. Another time during a speaking exam for English in high school, I just started talking about a YouTube video about sharks, and I actually passed quite well. Yeah, I love when, like, I feel like schools should allow you, like, schools, universities, whichever. Like, I don't get why they don't. Like, I guess, like, it's more work for the teachers to an extent. Sometimes, depending on what it is. But, like, the fact that this isn't a more frequent occurrence of just teachers letting you combine your passion with the thing you're supposed to do. And of course it doesn't always work. You know, of course it doesn't always work. Sometimes you need, you know, the structure of sorts, especially early on, I feel like, when you're just learning things. But at some point when it comes to like practicing and stuff, or, you know, hammering home the basics some more, like, just let students go off on their own for a bit. And hey, as a teacher, sometimes you can learn stuff from that as well. Like, if it's a topic that you're not interested, like that you haven't really thought of that much or haven't really looked into much, that's a learning opportunity as well. And I feel like for a lot of teachers, they don't do that just because, like, they're already, like, so ingrained in their habits, where it's like, this is the curriculum and we're just gonna do it by the book. Or they think it's too much work for them, which it can be. You know, obviously it would be more work because you have to familiarize yourself with a new thing. But at the end of the day, sometimes, like, when it's like writing, for example, like, the base principles of, you know, like, the base principles still apply no matter the topic. So I feel like you should just, like, students should just get to do that more often. Especially in, like, literature and, like, more creative subjects. Just let students go off for a bit. And don't set, like, restrictions on, you know, the way the story should go. Like, you can include base points, you know, like, make sure to talk about this, make sure to talk about that, and stuff. Like, a general direction. But whether a student wants to write a happy ending for their story, whether they want to write a tragedy, that should not matter. That should not matter. Whether they want to write 5 pages, whether they want to write 2, if they include all the points, that's great. And that's all it should be. But yeah, we got about 1.5 hours of studying done tonight, which is very, very lovely. Very lovely. Next one of these might be on Sunday. Tomorrow we will be hopefully finishing the 4.2 quest. I forgot that there's the adventure mission after that with, what was it, Fugue and Sunday? At least they showed those two in the trailer, I think. So we might do that on Saturday then. How long is that quest? How long is that quest, roughly? Just so I have an idea on whether it's going to take up a whole stream or whether it's going to be a shorter thing. Like, assuming I read it all aloud, right? Or at least most of it aloud. Yeah, this was fun. I should have done these. I should have started this way earlier, because it really does help me like stay focused, and actually get stuff done. And it is fun. It is really fun. Like, that's another thing. Like, right? That's another thing, right? I love talking to people about, like, I actually am very interested in psychology. I really like talking to people about this. It's just like finding something, like, I don't just go up to my grandma. It's like, hey, you want to listen to me yap about fucking the rule of scarcity and authority and the way that you know, like, social perception and whatnot. Like, I don't usually do that. Especially because I feel like, you know, it's like, I feel like it's easier on stream also because I don't have a person that, like, you guys are there, but you're not there, you know? Like, if you guys don't care about what I'm talking about, you could just walk away and I wouldn't be any the wiser, basically. Unless you tell me, like, this is fucking boring, and then I'm like, whatever. You know, like it's easier when there's not, it's kind of easier when there's not someone right there with me who doesn't really know what I'm talking about and who's just like, okay, sure, go ahead. Like, the only other exception was, like, if I was doing this with another psychology student, because, like, they also gotta know the stuff that they gotta know the same stuff that I have to know. But the only person that I know is, like, my friend, who is not at the same, who only recently started, her major, so that's like another thing. And, like, hitting her up at, like, 10 in the evening is maybe not the best. Like, with this also, I could just go live anytime. Whether I go live at 2 in the afternoon or at 9 in the evening, I can just leave it there and just yap away. So that makes it very, very nice and very, very convenient. Whew. But anyway, I believe this is where we shall end it then, and we might be back for more studying on Sunday. Tomorrow, 4.2. Hopefully finishing it. We have a little under 3 hours left, so assuming I don't yap too much, I also should remember to edit and upload the animated short. That might come sometime, like, at the end of this week, maybe next week, we'll see. But I thank you guys for sticking around. Thank you guys for being here, and hope you also got some work done, got some good stuff done. And yeah, I wish you all a lovely rest of your day, night, whatever time it is for you. As usual, you know, consider checking out the social medias, the Twitch, the YouTube, the Twitter, Blue Sky, the whatnots, and yeah. Stay safe, y'all. Take care, and until tomorrow. Bye-bye!